Morning guys, and welcome to another video. This episode we're going to be focusing on the silver MK2 ZR. The weather's perking up a little bit, there's signs of spring, so we can get a little bit more done, so it's all positive. So just to introduce this car, this was the one I think I mentioned on a previous episode that I bought for break-in. Doesn't look too bad actually, obviously other than rusty wings, which is always a given, but it's quite straight. Rear arches are pretty good, a little bit of bubbling. It's been sat here for a few weeks under this massive tree, so birds have been crapping all over it. Previous owners obviously been an enthusiast because he's done a few little bits to it. It's got a side skirt this side. The side skirt is unconventionally fitted inside the car at the minute because it's fallen off. It's got a cool bolt filter, which we'll probably try and get rid of. A little bit of interesting stuff going on inside here, so we're going to have to take a bit of a better look at that. So I think you'll probably agree. She's not a honey, but let's see if we can make something of it. This is my little project that I did before Christmas. This was the one that had the rusted out rear sills. So this was ones that I showed pictures of in progress where I bought the little repair panels. You'll see it's not perfect. I painted this one myself, but certainly saved it from the scrappers. So this side skirts and rear spats to go on it. But yeah, it's not a bad thing. I kind of lied when I said I'd wash it. A couple of little projects I've had on the go is just collecting nice solid shells. So I've picked this Solar Red originally. It was supposed to be become a race car, so I just bought it as a package with some spares. So at the minute I've just panelled it up and got it rolling, ready to kind of tuck away. Not very interesting, but hopefully something for that might come into use at some point as they're starting to die out. So just a really quick refresher. First of all, we just got it up on stands. I'm going to take that skirt off because the other one has fallen off. That's in there. I'm going to take the mud flaps off. It's got mud flaps. I think they're all kind of broken. I'm going to take all the arch liners out, obviously the wing, both wings, front bumper, because bumper's all kind of a bit minging. This wing, yeah, I'm just going to basically take it all back down to bare carcass. Rear bumper, I'll take that off because the spats have all started falling off, so I'll reapply these new number plates. Take a few of the X-Power stickers, which I would guarantee to have been fitting when I was 17, but now I'm 40, I will be removing them. Same with the X-Power things here. So basically I'm just going to kind of chav it a little bit. Rear arches, as you can see, they've got a little bit of scabbiness, but they're not bad. So I'm hoping I'm just going to be able to knock that kind of back to bare metal, treat it, and then I'll probably have to do a tiny little bit of paint work. I'm not a painter, but I'm not going to spend a lot of money on it. I'm just going to see how good I can get it. See a little bit of rust there. So I would imagine that whole boot lid is going to need a bit of a paint up. There's a few marks on the rear bumper. That one I did myself the other night, just been tired and dragging stuff around on Arctic, so yeah. And inside we've got aids growing everywhere, so we'll try and get rid of that. Oh, I do have some nice gas coilovers which will go in on. They've just come back from gas, having been serviced. Engine bay wise, I've already removed the battery because the battery is goosed. I've got a standard cover. I'll stick a standard cover on it. I'll stick a standard air filter on it. I need to address this down here. Yeah, we'll see how bad that is. Might need a little bit of welding. I've lost count of the amount of times I've taken old rusty ZRs apart, but it doesn't get any easier. Okay, so a little update. I've got all of the hubs off. I decided I'd take the hubs off just to do the front wheel bearings on both hubs. I'm changing the shockers, so shocks are going to come off. I've got some poly bushes as well, so I'll poly bush the bottom arms and then put some track rod ends on them. Can't guarantee what this car's had, so since I'm in there doing tidying up work on the arches, then may as well take them off. So we stripped all the way back, which is it's revealing a lot of this crust. So next job is to start to attack this with the wire wheel and see how bad it is. This is the worst one. This is the driver's side. You see up there, it's not looking the best. And then I'm thinking that's probably why this is coming through. So it's not looking good. So judging by the state of me, I'm sure you can imagine what I've been doing. All looking half okay, apart from me. So as you can see, you've got a nice thick layer. It's actually double skinned, so this bit's obviously perfect. This bit's all okay, but it's the single layer here. So when you look at the other side, there you go. So your double layer, you can actually just see it just under here, and it kind of ends just where the mount attaches, so it's kind of good because it means that I don't have to strip a load of the engine bay apart. I'm just gonna trim that bad section out, the single layer section, and I'll get a nice big piece and weld it in and just kind of profile it to suit. This side is all right. It was just scabby. It seems to be where it's got under the paint and then under the seam sealer, which is the problem. So what I've done with a lot of it is just take it back as much as I can. I'm not going to go to town and do the full thing, but I just wanted to get the key areas. So one job I am on with is the rear beam from a 120 that I got. So it's a rear stub axle, obviously off of the beam. So they bolt through the back. So I didn't film the strip down. As you can see, here's all of the reminiscence from it. There's another one. So I'm going to remove the back plate just because it's all mangled and rusty. It's quite common. But yeah, I'm just going to split this one down, clean it all up. I'll see what the bearing's like. If not, I've got a new set of bearings that can go in. The fun part is the beam side. So as you can see, everything was well and truly crusted up from the donor car. Bushes seen better days, so out of precaution I will always I'll always stick a set of poly bushes in here. Common question is, how do you remove them? So I'll tend to give them a real good session with the blowtorch to get basically like a knuckle in a ring. And what I tend to do is drill all the way around the outer and then give it a good whack with a hammer and it'll come out. Once it's been on fire for a little while, nice and warm, there's actually 4 holes. What I tend to do is follow the 4 holes and then go in between and basically ruin a lot of that bush that's in there. So as you can see, trying to film with one hand while screwing. I've gone all the way around it. Next thing will be to back up, so the first round with a blowtorch will knacker the bush, get it nice and warm, and then the easiest bit is knocking it out. There you go, nice and easy. So the rear beam is all stripped down. I've taken the decision not to have this blasted. Normally I'd have them blasted and painted, but since this is a relatively unknown car, I'm gonna just do the fundamental upgrades that I can. Shaking off all of the kind of standing rust is the obvious thing. Polybushing, so thank you to Peter Birchall at Vulcan Racing, so he always supplies all of the bushes, so I buy quite a lot of these whenever I do stuff. I'll always use him. Not sponsored, but just good to work with someone that's an actual person that you can speak to and order things fast. So I'm sure you'll agree it's a nice upgrade versus those, to some nice poly bushes. Rear hubs, I've also taken the dust protectors off the back that I said that were all corroded. Checked the bearings, re-greased them, torqued them, and kept the ABS sensors intact. Just putting this together, the rear beam, and just going to replace all of the original bolts. Oh, you see a lot of these, they're all gone minging. So high tensile caps, and then some stainless ones for the saddles. One job I'm on with, which I've been dreading because I absolutely hate it, front hubs. So I've got the dry flanges out. They're nice and easy, just literally press them out. So that's that side, that's from this side. So they pop out from the back. You literally just push them out, and then it leaves the kind of outer race, as you can see inside the hub. But you see they're normally rusted to hell inside the hub. So I find giving them a bit of a tap to try and get them moving and give them a bit of a shock, probably get some heat on it. But basically, if you can get it spinning, moving round to start with, before you try and get the pliers on, because my past experience is that these just snap straight off if you try and go straight in with them, or try and bash them from this side. They just fracture, and then you end up really struggling. So plenty of heat and bashing. You see I've just been kind of working it around the outside of the clip. So the hardest part of getting the actual bearings out or in is actually holding a weird shaped hub in the press. So yeah, shimming it with some brackets and then just using whatever you've kind of got. To do with buying a kit really, with all the odds and sods. So once the circlip's out, getting the actual bearing out is supposedly the easiest bit, but this one's been an absolute sod. Should drop. Hopefully. Yeah. Yeah. So once the old bearing's out, you can start to see why they might be tough. So probably a little bit of corrosion just sitting inside the... So the dry flange itself leaves the inner race on there. So you can either get them really cold and then they'll probably slot just straight off. Or what I normally do is just use a grinding disc, a little small one, but be really careful that you don't go through. Give it enough of a groove, then give it a smash with the chisel, and generally you'll get them off. One-handed. There you go. So another early morning. I'm back on the hubs. It's taking a bit of time. This one's in. So nice new bearing. Circlips obviously in. I always make sure you can give them a bit of a tap around and get them moving, make sure they're actually seated because it's quite a tight groove. What I've done in here is I've just used plenty of brake cleaner, got a cloth and gone around it. I've not gone anything too hard in terms of like abrasive or wire wheels or anything daft. And I use like a narrow flat blade and just go all around that groove area, just give it a tap, get any corrosion out. And then just something like that I tend to use. Can't see an issue with it, but just get plenty of it around and about. Nothing too mad, but just a little bit of something just for future maintenance. I mean, I'm hoping that I'm not going to have this car in however many years when it's going to need a bearing, but let's think about the next person, I guess. I was also saying that some of those circlips can be a bit of a pain. This one, both of the ring ends snapped off and I was just trying to get it to move. Getting the new bearings in is nice and easy really. Just generally, hardest bit's getting the hub nice and flat, so use anything you can. Series of plates and old bearings. But yeah, go nice and easy. Obviously, important thing is just making sure that it goes in concentric, kind of cockled. So make sure you've kind of put it in by hand and kind of got it into a decent place. And then it's just a case of getting it down and into the carrier. A little bit of a noise there, it's just as it's pushing in, but generally I would stop if you're getting any resistance. I've not had any resistance here, it's going straight in. Obviously that plate's going to bottom out when it hits the top of the hub, so what I will do is go as far as I can. So the old bearing that is perfect for that, and then that should slide under there, and then we'll give it its last bit. So based on the state of this face, I'm pretty sure you're going to guess what I've been doing. Let me show you. So at the minute, I've just been wire wheeling all the inner arch just to see where all the bad bits are. There's no bad bits up there. It kind of looks worse than it is. I've ground back the seam sealer because typically it just perishes over time, and then you start to get water sitting, well, just moisture sat underneath it. So it's not finished, but I've been grinding back as much as I can just to make sure everything's okay. I'll then rust treat it, re-seam sealer it, prime it before I paint the arches. Obviously the sills, they're looking worse for wear. This side's actually had a repair, and it kind of goes all the way back to about there. You see the hole, so I think I'm gonna just replace that full section of sill. Actually taken the tank out. So this has kind of gone way beyond what I was planning on getting involved with, but I'm the type of person that once you're kind of in doing stuff, I don't really see the point in doing like a bit of a half-assed, you know, workaround. Plus the tank had some corrosion on it as well, so I had to see to that. So I've given everything a bit of a wire wheel underneath, got rid of all the major scabby bits, so I'm gonna have to do like a, you know, pretty much a part respray underneath here, but all for the greater good. The back end of these panels, the sill panels, you can buy repair patches for them, so I'm gonna do both sides, because as you can see, that one is the same. In fact, that one's worse. However, the sill on that side is better. So a little update is all of the old stuff is out, and this is what we're left with. So luckily all the inner stuff is pretty good, so I've just tidied that up. Some weld through primer. So that's all your inner, and you see I've taken it back to the inner downward sill bit, if that makes sense. The blue line is my sill line. One thing I do try and do is cut it short and then take away, because you can't add on if you cut it wrong. So I've learned my lesson from the first time I did it. I went a bit too short. I managed to get round it, but it made life quite difficult. So that's your inner section. So I've cut that triangle out, and then this bit goes roughly like that. So you see it's nice and flush to the bottom. And that's nice thick material, so I can get a nice weld in that corner. And then just finish it there. So I'm actually like kind of laying it over the old one. I've kind of chopped the middle rusty bit out, so I'm leaving this kind of double skinned just to try and get a little bit more meat into it. So it's the next day, same outfit, but I've had a wash. Just an update on the inner arch, well, the strut top kind of area, that. So things progressed a little bit from being a little hole to, as soon as you start cutting away, it starts to become a bit more apparent that it's a bit worse than I thought, but I think we can save it. So the top one, I've cut a little piece in there. I'm going to put a nice big thick piece in there, weld it from this side, so then it might just leave a slight lip on the actual engine bay side, which I'll fill. But as long as I get it nice and strong from the inside, I don't really mind if I do a bit of cosmetics on the inside to make it look right. This one is trickier because it's thin metal. I've cut it right back so there's no rot, but it's quite a complex shape. You might see there's like lots of different folds. So for this one I've made a cardboard template, which is the easy bit. I've then transferred it over to metal. So what I plan to do is, this is going to be quite tricky. So I'm going to get a tack, something like that. again, all from the inside. So I'll probably get a tack in certain areas. I'm gonna get it really warm and I'm gonna beat it into shape. This side is all chopped back now. That's pretty much what's left of it. As I say, this side was worse, but it didn't go as far down the bottom. So as you can see, it's only a small bit of sill I'm gonna put in. Just clean things up, put a bit of weld through primer, and then it'll be then start to piece things together. That's a little triangle, same as the other side. So we're back on this side. So far I've got the triangular bit in. Not the prettiest, but it's strong. Needs cleaning up. Yeah, but I've had to put a small plate in here because there was a hole developing, so I've kind of cut that back and treated it, and then thought I'd put a square in because I've noticed they've all, in between this piece here and the end cap, they've all got like a triangle which is just full of seam sealer, so I've dug that out, plated it up, and at least then I've got something nice and strong to weld to. But yeah, the end cap's all kind of sorted. It doesn't fit the best, so I've had to manipulate it slightly, but yeah, it should all go in now. So that's it, kind of in place. You see it fits flush to the new back piece. So next day, I've got the end cap welded on. It needs a little bit of tidying up, so I don't pay too much attention there. She's obviously had a little bit of filler in that area before, so it was a bit tricky, but yeah, that's in. Just about ready to put the actual sill on, so I've kind of prepped all the edges. And what I've decided to do is I've just kind of bent it in ever so slightly. Just kind of nibbled it with this. Because the plan is I'm just going to overlap the new sill just over that edge, so that when I grind it back and fill it, I should hopefully be left with not too much of a step, because the concern was this bit under the door. I didn't want it sitting proud so that you see a wave. So I'm hoping this works all right and that the actual weld sits inside the line, and then it just needs a little bit of filler just to go over the top. So yep, I'll be back. Here's a little update. So the ends are all in on both sides. The sills repaired. I've ground back what I can, so it's flush. The rest I'll take with some filler. So it's spotted all the way underneath. I've had to do a little bit of patchwork just where I've had to tweak the end bracket where it didn't quite fit, but as you can see, it's sitting nice and flush. This side, same again. It was quite tricky to get the merge right between the end cap and the existing inner lip, so I've had to kind of fill it up with a bit of weld. So it's certainly nice and strong and it's level enough. I'll be able to take the rest with filler. And again, that's my patch. Might not be the prettiest, but it's all welded and it's all strong. It's better than rust. Like a bit of primer, and I've had to re-seam seal all the bits that I've obviously ground back. So yeah, all of the main seals have had a fresh lick. So a brief update. The arch is done. I've just literally primed that, so it's a little bit slimy. Yeah, so it needs a good wet and dry down now. I've filled the best I can. You see there's just a little bit funny there. But yeah, I'll get that with some wet and dry and a bit more high build primer. So that's all as good as I can get it. This one, the same. Yeah, I'm left with a slight bump just where I've transitioned to the new sill. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I think once it's painted, I don't think you're going to really realise. And then this bit, sorry I'm not showing you too much of the progress, but I've put a plate up in there. This plate is in, I've seam sealed round it the best I can. And then you can see a bit of the repair there, but generally it's not too bad. The other bit was up the top, so you can see a little bit of the remnants, but yeah, that just needs a bit of a flat back again, and then a bit more high build, and it should be okay. I don't think you're going to notice too much. I'm going to have to paint all the way across, so I've got some paint mixed up to suit the colour, so I'll be doing that next, and I can get all the engine mount and everything back on. I've masked up the bottom of the sill and rubbed the original bits down. You can just see. I'm gonna get some stone chip. This stuff's good. It's my local supplier, Auto Panels. Don't do me any deals, but they do good stuff. So all of my odds and sods are from them. All kinds of potions. So yeah, just gonna be a quick flash, just so it all looks one piece, and to protect the original stuff that was pretty old and manky. So we're at the point of painting, which is the fun bit. Again, I'm not a professional at this, so let's see how it goes. That's the rear quarter, obviously all ready for blasting. I've done the stone chip line, you see all the way down, so I can just go over with my silver paint over the top. Wing, a rust-free wing, which is all prepared. There's another one over there. I'm going to have to do them in stages. As you can see, I'm just spraying in here. There's no extractor or any posh kind of heating device for baking it on, but yeah, it's nice and warm anyway, so let's give it a bash. So I've just wet and dried the quarters and the bits that I've filled with obviously filler and high build primer, and then again bottom of the sills have all been stone chipped. So yeah, let's get some paint mixed up and let's go. Okay, so we've been doing some painting. It took me forever to get the gun wouldn't flow to start with, but I had to take it apart. So I'd already mixed all my paint and then I had to take it apart to try and get it working. Got it working, but still not really happy. I might have to buy a new gun, to be fair. I can't seem to get the like enough paint to come through. Anyway, wings, well, quarters are done. First wing has had a go. Trying to stand on my wing, and then this quarters had a little match. As I say, like when I watch professionals paint, it just seems to cover so well, whereas I seem to be going for ages. But as you can see, it's pretty good. Well, seems all right. Another coat and then lacquer, and that wing needs a paint. Rear bumper, again, another panel that needs a bit of TLC. It's like on a bonfire pile at the minute. In the MG graveyard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the tailgate done. Turned out okay, I think. And bumper is all lacquered and painted. So one thing that's really letting my results down is probably my prep. I think I'm going too aggressive with the, you see some of the, there you go. You see some of the rub marks from the too coarser sandpaper. So I've kind of got that a little bit in the tail. The tailgate's not as bad. The rear quarters, you can see it. The wings especially, you can see it. But I think generally the finish is okay. To say I'm painting in a garage, it's there's evidence of the scratches. But as I say, it's a learning process. It's better than rusty panels, I guess. My gun, I realised why I've not been getting, it's clogging up. So it's actually quite a good make, I think. Devil Biss. I'm not a painter, but that's quite an old. It's quite an old gun, that, and it's certainly seen some action. But I'm led to believe it's a decent make, so I was persisting with that one. However, as I say, it wasn't delivering paint, so I went to this cheap one, and that did the job a lot better. So I think next on the list is to look for a better gun. So any advice, pop it in the comments. And then the other thing was, I was running out of volume quite a lot. So I think if I'm to do it again, I'm gonna need a bigger compressor. Again, any advice, let me know. So I'm gonna call it a day with this video. I'll have to wrap it up here before it gets too long. I'm in Ireland this week with work, so just getting out for a bit of a walk and getting some steps in. So yes, the little silver car, I actually, over the weekend, I was thinking to myself, this is getting a bit out of hand for what was originally meant to be a parts car, but hey, they're gonna be an investment, right? So yes, we've got Harrogate MG show in Pateley Bridge, which is in 2 weeks' time. Today is Monday. So pretty much 2 weeks, and I've started to feel the heat a little bit. As you can see where the car is, it's only just been painted and everything else needs to go back on it and back in. So yeah, it's typical me. I've known about this show for probably about 12 weeks, and then now 2 weeks before I'm trying to get my finger out. I've got a full weekend on it this coming weekend, so I'm hoping it's not going to be too long until you get another video and you'll see whether we make it or not. So do us a favour, just give us a like on the video, really helps. Yeah, 200 subscribers with fairly limited content, so yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully doing a few more. If you like this kind of content, then yeah, let us know. I can't say I'll be doing too many more of these things. I'd like to get the rally car out and do some more exciting things with that, and some work on the race car next. So but yeah, hopefully this little silver car turns out well, and you never know, I might even sell it at the show. So see you on the next one. Thank you.